Welcome into another episode of Who Should You Choose, the video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your hut lineup decisions. Let's get into today's questions. I want to start with one, that's maybe a little bit of accountability from me. And the Joe Spets, I got to give you credit because you called me out and I completely agree. So Joe says, some people get things wrong at times. And as much as I love your content and think you are the top source for all of Hut content creators, sell everything was your advice before the game launched for us whom bought the standard edition. I went the other way and just bought everything I could and made a killing. Now you have said to sell all 82s, and I think that is a big mistake. 82s can be bought at 10K, and 79 to 81 are close to that. I bought 60 of them, and if EA is listening to you when you said there is no way that 82s will be in the sets for fantasy and they add it, man, that will really make my day. I will most likely get another 70 more soon. I'm just waiting to see if game day cards make its return. After all this, I still think you're amazing and people should make their decisions regardless and own up to it. 100% agree. And when it comes to the market, I'm not always going to give... first, I want to let's address the sell everything before, because my full statement was sell everything before the event, because if the prices go up, that means we got the worst hut we've ever had. And so technically 50% on that one, because obviously card fodder went up because there wasn't adequate enough rewards. I really did not expect how the XP path would kind of demolish that. But I do own up to that. And I was, it's why I don't like giving a ton of advice when it comes to buy cards for X price. I'll give you an example. I don't really get to experience the game the same way normal players do. If you were in my subathon, Darcy Kemper was playing awful for me, and I bought the Sebastian Casa, 80 overall Grand Rapids card, and he won 10 games in a row for me. I bought him for 15K. In 3 hours in the middle of the night, just because I was streaming with him, he went up to 65,000 coins. So when I say, hey, go buy things for X price, invest in these cards, the problem is that I've got enough of a following now that everyone is going to do that, tank the market, and if I'm wrong, we're really wrong. And if I'm right, then, you're competing with everyone else. So it's kind of why I've stayed away from Market Monday videos and things like that. But 100% I was wrong on this. And you bring up the good point about the 82s. And the more I think about it, as the game goes along, the 82s, 83s, 84s even, well, maybe, are going to increase in value because you will be able to use them in sets. I try to keep the lens of the casual player in mind at the forefront because that is the majority of the player base. And when you've got players that don't get a ton of time to play, I want them to be able to have access to some cards and things like that. So that was why the sell everything was kind of just a blanket rule. That being said, I think 82s might be used in the fantasy event. And just by me saying that, it's going to shoot the price up another 30K. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And I think that you're onto something here, especially because the 82 cover athletes are used in the cover athlete MSPs. I don't know about the base cards, though, because I don't think we have anything where it's 81s are used, 81 overall rant, any card, right? When you consider that an 85 is the highest overall card that's been released to the world that you can actually buy and pull, an 82 is very high in that when you consider that. So I'm happy that you made a ton, and I agree when it comes to the market. Take it with a grain of salt when I give you an advice on that. And I apologize for anyone that lost out on coins. I did not expect it to go up because, like I said, that meant that we got just absolutely hosed on rewards, and that's where we are. All right, moving on. We've got from Arthur. He says, should I do 85 Makar right now or wait until Friday for new MSPs? Would have to spend 100K to get them. I would wait. The reason being is you don't have to rush out and get them. The timer is still there. Anytime you see a timer on an MSP set, guys, just wait because you might really like Stamkos or you might try them out. What I would recommend is that if you've got a ton of coins, 500K, try them out for a night. If you for example, what I've been doing, and which I think is one of the nicer changes to the HUD economy, is I'm buying up a card that I would never invest in because I know that it'll be replaced by whatever the new hotness is. So yesterday I bought that Mikko Rantanen for 250, tried him out for 5 to 10 games, and then I'll sell him back if I don't super love him. And then I've done that. I did that with all the MSPs. And the reason why you're able to do that now is because you have so many coins. And since investing in card fodder for untradeable cards like the holograms, X Factors, and team builders, that isn't worth it. So going and trying some cards that you have interest in is key, and I think that is something that you should try. I also think Kale McCarr's cover athlete card might be one of the cheaper ones because everyone shows him in comparison to like Matthews and Lindros. But no, I would just wait till Friday, see if we get any more free stuff to make them for free, and you won't have to spend anything on whatever one you choose. So Bojo says, who do you think is the closest comparable to McCarr that is left-handed? I'm much worse with right-handed players and would much rather my team's stud D-man be a lefty. That'd be Quinn Hughes. The other option you could try is that 84 Morgan Riley from the Game Breakers event. He looks like a pretty solid card as well. But if you're looking for a comparable in terms of McCarr, it's like legitimately Quinn Hughes. They're basically almost the same card. Zinister says, new to Hut Champs. It says I'm not qualified, but I have 2,000 points. How do I qualify? What div do you have to be in? So that's because the champ season hasn't started yet. It's kind of lame because you could basically what you could do is like cash it in now, get your champs collectible so you can, and then work towards the next one so you don't have to wait. But that's a device that they use probably to make sure that you come back weekly. So when the new champs opens up, which is soon, I think this Wednesday would be, next Wednesday, 7 days from now. I think that's when it would open up. Great content every single year. Would love to see a strategies video. The subathon really did a number on my YouTube content, and I am extremely sick right now. So I'm trying my best. I have no money spent videos. I have like 5 of them I have to make. But the strategies video I really want to do because this year I feel like it's the most different from prior years, and I love strategy. If you've been following me for a long time, the videos I love doing the most are all strategy videos and stuff like that. So there will be one, and it will be this week. And I'm going to put a lot of effort into it to try and help out all the player base. Anyone looking for demon with high defensive awareness, I recommend Al McInnes. I know icons are not the cheapest, but he has 90 defensive awareness with two-way defenseman activated and 88 endurance. I play him with Quinn Hughes. It works really good. 100%. I liked this question, or this statement, really, because we're seeing cross creases more and more. It's like what happened to my game, my early access game. And the reason for it is because everyone's getting a better team slowly but surely, whether it's just base cards improving, right? Like in early access, you had silvers on your team. Now you've got base Kucherov or base Matthews and base McKinnon. And even though they're not like the crazy team of McDavid or power up icons, right? Like passing ratings higher. And we're all choosing defensemen that are fast, that have very low defensive awareness. Defensive awareness, guys, I've said this a number of times. If you want to test, I have a clip that I'm going to put out actually because if you want to go into the rosters and give yourself a defenseman with 36. I think the lowest you can go is 36 defensive awareness, and then go into practice mode 2-on-1 and try sending passes through with that defenseman right in the middle, and he will literally just move out of the way. Now, obviously, that's egregious, right? Like no one has 37 defensive awareness, but it shows you what happens when you have a player that does not have great defensive awareness, right? And I totally agree. Like something that's really frustrating is players just aren't making the motion to intercept passes right now, and I think it's because attributes matter more this year, which is nice. I've said it for years, and I'll say it again. Complaining of lack of set fodder for free to play. Game changers need to keep their mouth shut as they were complaining that Hut Rush exists. I bet we missed the free packs of Hut Rush now. I gotta be honest with you, man. I thank you for taking the time to post a comment on my video, but this is coming from someone that just simply hasn't watched enough of my content, because I personally liked Hut Rush and I saw a future for it if they wanted to improve upon it. I think that the reason why I said get rid of it is simply because if you're not going to fix the broken objectives and the stat tracking, get rid of it if you're not going to invest anymore in it. But if they would have given us co-op Hut Rush and allowed us to play EASHL with Hut Rush, it would have been one of the most fun modes. And I still believe that. Like, Hut Rush was stupid fun, and it just was not executed well. But it was a mode that I thought that would have a pretty good reward system. That being said, the free packs at a Hut Rush, I mean, dude, could you imagine what the XP path or the reward path for Hut Rush would have looked like this year, given what we've seen so far? It would have been like 370 overall player items and a X Factor token at the end of it, right? Like, I apologize that you don't think that the game changers have your best interest at heart. I have not spent money on the game in over 2.5 years now, and it's really the focus of all my content. And hopefully, I can earn your trust back. Why is no one talking about our so-called unlimited coins is going to dry up soon once objectives are completed? Interesting take here. And again, this touches on how the market, no one has any idea how it's going to work, right? One of the more intelligent people when it comes to the market in the community is Bagel Pizza Party. So if you've been on Reddit for a long time, he's the Wolf of Hut Street. And he's been in my Discord for about 2 years now, and he's a master at dominating the market, right? Like he's someone that I think he's in finance, so it's funny when you see people that are in finance that can dominate. And he's in the same kind of boat of like, I don't know what to do because we're going through a change in the HUD economy, and I've said this before already this year. The old way that we played HUT and built teams is long dead. Like it's over. The trading in, getting our card dump every Wednesday, trading all those cards in, taking untradeable rewards, getting whatever new master set player is out, that's long dead. It's get a ton of coins, use the market to buy cards that we wouldn't have access to normally because we didn't have coins, and then carry on, right? With the chase cards being impossible to get for free to play players for the most part. I don't want to say impossible, but you can agree that if you could play 5 hours a week, you're not getting one of those, even if you hyper focused on one. They're adding, the reason why I don't think this will be an issue is because it's clear, and I talked about this on stream a little bit, a frustration of mine this year about EA's lack of communication from the content team is that the XP path was clearly just, it wasn't the main source of rewards, and it wasn't intended to be. The objective paths are, and moments and things like that. And had they just relayed that instead of just dropping it and making radio silence, we could have avoided a lot of the insane not overreaction because I think we reacted fine. The kind of doom and gloom if they just would have explained, this is what we're trying, so focus on this stuff. The objectives, that being said, the weekly competitive objectives, you get 30,000 coins in that on top of a few packs. Like, that's a lot of coins. Like, 30,000 coins, in last year's game, is a ton. And we never had access to that many coins. And this looks to be a weekly thing, right? So, again, that is why I'm so frustrated as a game. This is easily the most frustrated I've been as a game changer. Not because I have this massive ego and I'm like, yo, devs, I demand an answer. It's simply that every single person is relaying that, hey, we have a massive issue here. What is the plan? And it's just like ghosted. And I don't know what to do with that because I'm trying to see the good points. And a lot of people are pointing out there are some good things happening in HUT this year with the economy. Like being able to try out new cards is awesome. That's a good change. XP path is a good thing if the rewards meet the time input, right? But I think that you're never gonna have to worry about coins this year. I don't, especially with set fodder. Like until they release, like I said, guys, the only way this is fixed now, especially after, shout out to my man Thick Carl, after Team of the Wallet was released, where Fantilli costs over 1 million coins because it requires yet another thing that needs 75 and above player items, which is just wild to me, given what's happened so far. You just sell all of that. Any tradable card you get that is 75 and above, just sell it, regardless if the market goes up and down, and you'll have way more coins, and you'll be able to buy whatever card you want. And it won't be the god tier, holograms that we would love to get. And maybe that's just what we've got to accept as free-to-play players. Next up, we got Bonjour from Quebec. We don't see that very often. I'm going to stay on the subject. The Evo event, should I keep my 82 overalls or exchange them for an 85 MSP? Joe or the other guy earlier that roasted me senseless for my take on what to do with cards, he's right in the sense that 82s will be usable at some point, and the second they are, this happened last year, it happens every year. So instead of it being 82s, it's like 85s, right? So early on at launch, 85s are not used in sets, and they're almost as cheap as 84s are for the most part, unless it's Connor McDavid or something along those lines. And the second that 85s are, the problem is you can't use them. So you're using your coins to invest in the future, but then that means that you're not getting to play the game. You're just playing the market. And that's, some people that's going to enjoy that. They're going to enjoy being HUT rich and then whatever, right? Any overall of cards that you can acquire that doesn't have a set yet, you will make money on. Blanket statement. Like you will eventually, because the second that an 81 or an 82 is required to make something that is worthwhile making, right? So a new event comes out, fantasy, for example. Fantasy comes out and says, hey, you can use 82 overall cards. Like those are going to shoot up to 30,000 a piece or some insane amount, right? So you could do that. You could hold on. If you don't want to make any of the MSPs, let's say you pre-order the game and you have Kale McCarr and you don't really feel like using your 82s, yeah, just wait. You know, again, I think that a lot of people get stuck in being like, oh, I've got this stuff, I need to spend it. When it comes to untradables, you could just wait, right? You could just wait. And you could buy the MSPs on the market and try them out. And then if you really like it, then try. Perelzi, for anyone that hasn't followed Perelzi, make sure you go follow him. He's a good content creator. And yeah, make sure you give him a follow. Big on TikTok. I have 1 million coins in a sick team. Should I start to buy team builders like Gartner or X Factor Power Up Icons, or save until Hut Champs rewards to see if prices drop? I have no faith that Hut Champs rewards will drop the market that much. Number one, we overestimate how many players actually play Hut Champs. Again, I try to think in the lens of free-to-play players or the casual player base, and there is so many people that don't even get the chance to play in Hut Champs, right? Now, when you think about last year's Hut Champs, the big change was they went to a collectible system where you could choose what packs you wanted to open, but you really didn't get that many packs on top of that, like guaranteed, right? And then what ended up happening was everyone traded in their collectibles for power-up collectibles so that they could make whatever the MSP was, or, you know, that was kind of the best value. There is a chance, you want to know my honest guess? All Hut Champs rewards are untradeable. Like that wouldn't surprise me at all. But prices will drop a little bit. But again, the packs that we're going to open via Hut Champs, it's the same issue as the store. They're going to be 80 and above overall cards. We need a pack that gives us 30, 75 and above player items with just an absolute zero chance of pulling an 80 and above. That is the only way to fix the market. We would need a pack like that where you will not be excited about any individual card you pull in that pack, but it's all 75 and above overall player items. That's what we need. And I don't think that Hut Champs pack, it'll be like trade in 5 collectibles for an ultimate pack. Like sick, another Connor McDavid or an 84 overall. Like, you know what I mean? Like cool, right? You can make some coins on that, but it isn't what the market needs. When it comes to, should you start to buy Gartner X Factors or things like that, I still don't see, I would never. Like, unless it's a player that I really wanted, you know, because I'm a fan of that player, I just don't see how buying the fodder is worth it. They give us enough free stuff that you can really slow play it. Like, I'm talking 3 months down the line, slow play it. But, you know, if you're going to play all year, you could probably get McDavid or a couple captains or a hologram, you know, in early December, if you just, which sounds crazy, by just playing and saving all your untradeable stuff. So I wouldn't do that personally. You know, I don't know what's going to happen in the market. I've stated that, and I probably wouldn't. What should I do? X Factors, icons, or team builders? Team builders are a hard no. It's too expensive. And what you're getting is, if you only make one, you have to make two. Because when they upgrade and the new ones come out, you need two to trade in. Or maybe you don't. Again, they're changing everything. So maybe you don't. But if team builders work the way they have the last 5 years or 4 years, you need two. And that means you're spending 1 million coins on 286 overall cards. So team builders are hard out. What I would recommend is, do you want 4 holograms or Connor McDavid and 2 B&D captains? And then make that decision. Hyper focus. I'm saying like 76 and above items all the way up to 78 use on power up icons. McKinnon was worth, at the time I make this, $250K for a base card. Every time I farm $30K for it, the price goes up by $30K again. Is this the value, the price for the best right-handed forward, or is he always way overpriced? At the pre-launch, he was $75K. Will it stop somewhere? Again, the pre-launch was under the assumption we knew what the hell was going on, and you know it was going to be somewhere like it was the prior few years. And obviously, with the change, McKinnon's base card is one of the best cards in the game, much like McDavid's is, right? Like McDavid, you could get for $100K a couple weeks ago. That said, base cards are usually what falls down the fastest, because when people do open up packs, they're always in the pack pool, right? Like, so, for example, when the Game Breaker McAvoy is no longer available to be made, or let's say he's not available to be made and you could pack him, right? Eventually, when he's out of packs, supply goes down, So demand might go up. Base cards are always in packs. So I could see McKinnon and McDavid and those cards go down in price when Hut Champs are. Those are the cards I could see going down in price because those are the cards most likely pulled in those bigger packs that Hut Champs will offer. That said, he is probably the best right-handed winger in the game, which is nice because we've always wanted base cards to hold more value. So again, that isn't a terrible thing. But I would probably wait for Hut Champs. I would wait for Hut Champs rewards, and then if you really want it, because I again, it's just that I don't know how the market wouldn't react like that for those cards. What should I prioritize first? Team Builders, X Factors, Power Icons. Again, make the decision. Go and look at your team. Do you want the X Factors, 3 of them, with McDavid, who's, in my opinion, the best card in the game and will be for the whole year? Or do you want 4 holograms? Because it's roughly the same price. Hey, slaves, should I start keeping the game breaker cards or selling them? This is because they might come back every week with different players. Keep up the great work in the content. Should I start keeping the game breaker cards? I don't know if the game breaker cards will be used in sets because you use collectibles, right? Like they don't. I have no idea what they're doing, right? But game breaker cards should continue to fall down in price because a lot of people are choosing the 80 and above tradable option. And because of that, the longer we go with that set there, the more people will do that set, pull an 85, and it will come down in price. The second that the set isn't there, that's when you'll see those card prices go up. How do you get more coins? Legitimately just playing the game. It has never been easier to get coins. If you want, watch my How to Get Started video in Hut. You can get 50,000 coins right off just doing the Deke objectives. Great video again. This is the first time I've gotten an NHL game at launch, so it's been an experience. I typically have gotten the game close to the end of its cycle. You've constantly said pick who the players you like when it comes to cards, which I like. It's how I've always approached the game. But I'm a Sabres fan first, so there isn't much outside of the base cards. What is your advice for somebody like me whose favorite players really don't have any special cards yet? Brother, I feel this in my bones. As a diehard Sharks fan, it's ugly. This year, we're probably going to get a couple of next-gen beauties, thank God. But this is the issue, right? Like, one of the issues with the Hut content team is that, like, they don't offer a ton of, like... The only way to fix this would be captain cards that give you boosts, chemistry boosts if you have, like... If every team had a captain card, and it's, like, Captain Rasmus Dahlin, for every 5 Buffalo Sabre cards in your lineup, everyone goes up +1 overall. And until they do that, like, it's really hard to use pay. Now, I don't know how good of a player you are, but if you're not super high in rivals, like, you could probably get away playing offline with just base card Sabres. I don't know what your rating is. Was thinking of putting my Makar, goalie cover, and Andrew for the trade for Hughes. I have no idea who you meant by Andrew. I'm assuming that's a typo. The 86 Hughes sets, brutal value. Only way I'm doing those is if one of those players are my favorite players. Terrible value. I think, and I've said this since they launched, it's a shame that they don't go up overall and work like X Factors or Power Up Icons, because it would have been kind of cool with the cover athletes, make these ultimate cards, they call them ultimate cards, and if they upgraded and you just had to pay for the upgrade tiers for the rest of the year, that would make it worth it. But because they're just 86 and capped, sure. Yeah, maybe he meant Austin here. Maybe he meant Austin. I have no idea. I'm assuming Austin. How can we best prepare for the fantasy hockey event? If you want to prepare, like, God, see, this is exactly what I've been talking about. I simply don't know. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is something where my faith in them doing a good fantasy hockey event is not high. They're going to make changes to it, I bet. And I do not know. You know, if you wanted to, hold on to everything. That would be my blanket statement. Coins won't do anything for you. So if you sell all your stuff, you're going to have to buy set fodder at the highest price. So I would just keep everything in the hopes that they have sets where you could do it. They will probably give you enough objectives and collectibles to make one for free or get close, but we have to wait and see. Someone in my chat says to prep for fantasy hockey, sell all 90 plus on the auction house for 1K each. Yeah, I don't think that's the play. I may be in the minority here, but I love the Paul Coffey card. God, this is what's funny, man. This is why I like testing out cards, because what cards work for me might not work for you. He is Paul Decaf on my team. Someone said, I saw a great comment. I don't know if I'll get to it. They called him, man, I must have got Paul Espresso. He has been terrible for me. Just absolutely awful. He couldn't intercept the pass. He couldn't score a goal to save his life with wide open shots. It's just funny. It's funny how player experiences are so different and play styles. You don't notice it, right? There's some cards that just work. Like, I would hazard a guess everyone is doing well with Rod Brindamore. That card just feels different. He's probably my favorite card I've used so far this year. Would it be dumb to make Captain Fox and then switching focus to team builder icons? Being a big Rangers fan, he's probably the card I want most. No, not at all. Again, I think that you should always go after your favorite player items. It's silly to avoid them simply to chase because it's not good value. You know, in a perfect world, if I didn't make content, I would have Dan Boyle on my team. But because I make content trying to show people what to do, in kind of like an instructional standpoint, I know that me spending my 500,000 coins on Dan Boyle is a massive mistake, because then everyone else would be like, oh, Sleeves did it, I'm going to go do it. And you would just end up upset. But the good thing about making just one captain is that they will go up the whole year, right? And it's not BND. So if there's a trade-in where Fox gets like team of the season or something, and it allows you to trade him in, and he's not BND because you didn't go after McDavid, then you should be fine. So no, absolutely. 100%. The comments here, legit scenario just with Nylander, as Sleeves always says, your favorite players. 100%, man. I understand that EA wants us to trade our bronze players to get better overalls, but the amount of menus is absurd. Having to open a pack for each trade-in makes no sense. I'm hoping that next year they do a really big tech overhaul. The reason why they haven't improved the menus is because they got to tear it down. You hear this a lot, that there's spaghetti code, where every year of a sports game, they just dump code on top of code. And one of the biggest issues with the NHL franchise, they only have a year to make the game. So when they want to fix something, they pull something out or put something in, and it breaks two other things. And then you got to go fix those two things. And now you only have 12 weeks of dev time, and you've just wasted 4 trying to fix the thing that you were putting in, right? The menu system is easily like 2 generations old. And for them to fix it, it's going to be an entire tech overhaul. But I pray that they do it, because, you know, I think NHL is one of the slowest next-gen console games, just in a franchise, you know, so. Hey, Slaves, remember last year when you went on a PlayStation rant due to ping and controller input speed issues? Just wondering if you abandoned Team Sony for the Xbox Brigade, like you said for NHL 25, or you're still playing with a plugged-in controller on 49 ping server, the rest of us. So I am a creature of habit. I'm stupid and stubborn, and I got my code, and I said, you know what? I don't want to make a big change. I'll go to PlayStation. However, what I'd recommend, if you have a launch PS5 or even a PS5 that's kind of old, and the cord you got was USB 2.0 or 3.0, go and get a USB-C Xbox cord or PlayStation cord, and I have not experienced the same latency that I had. I'm using cross-console, and it's been okay. Which game breaker should I do? I'm thinking 80 plus for long-term is better. Like I said, if you were someone that bought the game, the standard edition, didn't get any of the pre-order stuff, so you don't have Cover Hughes and you don't have Caden Gooley and all of those, I would be safe and go get Sabinajad and Riley, because those cards are going to be on your team for a while. Other than that scenario, I would go and shoot your shot, because you might end up with a couple 100,000 coins and getting McAvoy or Rantanen. So that's what I would recommend. Sir BG says, hey, Sleeves, congrats on the successful subathon. Longtime fan. Wanted to know what you think about the best way to go about this. I worked the market on early release and was able to get about 600,000 coins. Nerd. I agree with you that to chase the type of card you want and forego the rest. I decided on McDavid, and I'm close to my first captain, 4 to 8 with 33 out of 38, to make the next one and the one we will receive via objectives. My problem is using those 4 X factors on my team, and they would leave a big hole in my lineup. Would you wait until you can replace those players, or would you suck it up for a few weeks until you can make them again? If you are real close to getting and making those trade-ins, whether it's hologram or X factors, I would probably wait. But for example, we're getting a lot of usable cards. Like if you were gonna trade in X factors and Mario Ferraro's on your team, just choose the Bowen Byram 82 that we get for free, right? You've got to think with that lens, because I'm in the same boat. So I chose Byram. And because I know I'm going to lose Ferraro, right? And same with Drysdale, I'm going to lose Uyghur, right? That's what I would recommend doing, because I think that would probably be the best way to go about it. All right. Hey, No Sleeves. My first comment ever, but I've been watching since a few years ago. I'm not a big Hut grinder. I play mostly Shell as a defender, so I'm having a hard time scoring in Hut. I also work from home. To get me XP and coins, I play squad battle games while I work. It's the majority of the player base, to be honest with you. I just start the game and let it play itself and end up with a loss, a few XP, and a few coins. Do you see a problem with this long term? There's always going to be the path of least resistance. People are always trying to find the best way to get XP and cheat the system. If you work from home and you play the game, then sure, right? Like, like that's an individual, thing. I don't love that you can do that. But it's not like it's going to drastically change things. Again, the people that can grind the XP path, the people like me who played the game for a week straight, I'm only at level 20, by the way. People that have 400 squad battles games played, it's mostly people that work from home, right? They don't have that big of an advantage over you, right? When you think about it, what is their big advantage of having 15 more tiers than you? So I wouldn't really worry about it, right? Like, again, if you're having fun and you're getting through your workday, absolutely. But long term, I'd love to see a fix where people can't do that. But I don't know what it is. And I don't blame them because, like, again, you don't have a lot of time after work. So who am I to be like, no, man, you got to nerf the people that can do it from home? Like, no, that's silly. Sorry for the lack of energy today, fellas. I am deathly sick, and hopefully I am going to get that taken care of very shortly. The No Money Spent series, I need to address and make a bunch of those because I've played 120 games. My team is so different. I've only made one episode. It's the one thing I hated about my subathon. Those videos are my favorite to make. I try to make them as funny as possible. Those are coming, and so is my strategies video. That is my focus for this week. And again, thank you for all the subscribes. I'm almost at 65,000, which is huge. And if you want your question answered in the next episode, again, go through the comments, like the ones you see just in case I don't get to yours, but subscribe, notifications on, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.